Sometimes the worst pain doesn't come from losing someone. It comes from realizing they chose a life without you and never even looked back. Please subscribe to the channel. These stories are real, emotional, and they might change how you see family. They said the wedding was next month, then I heard we're already married. I used to believe I knew everything about my son, his fears, his joys, the tiny things that made him smile when the world felt heavy. Daniel was my firstborn, the most gentle and thoughtful child anyone could ask for, and I convinced myself that meant he would always tell me the truth. I was wrong. I think back to that night over and over, the night my son came home quietly, as if he was sneaking into someone else's house, and dropped a sentence that shattered every piece of my motherhood. If someone told me a heart could physically break, I wouldn't believe it, until that moment proved me wrong. But to understand that moment, we have to go back a few months earlier. Daniel and Emily Daniel met Emily Carter at his job in Chicago. He was a software developer, she worked in the same building. I only knew bits and pieces, never the full picture, because Daniel never liked talking about personal things. At first I didn't think much. People have friends, people talk, life moves. But mothers feel things before they know them. Whenever Daniel mentioned her name, something changed in his voice. Not exactly excitement, but something warmer, deeper, something that didn't belong to me anymore. Still, I kept quiet. Children grow. They form their own lives. I just didn't know I would be erased from it so quickly. The invite one Sunday we were invited for dinner at Emily's house. Her parents were overly sweet, almost rehearsed, like they already knew something I didn't. I assumed they were preparing for a big announcement soon. Emily's mother said with a wide smile, "We'll do the real celebration next month. Everyone should be here." Next month, I looked at Daniel. He avoided my eyes. At that moment, something tightened inside me, some tiny invisible string connecting mother and son, something I couldn't name, but I felt it move. After we got home, Daniel barely spoke all evening. He paced around, smiled at nothing, texted constantly, then stared at his phone like every message decided the rest of his life. I made tea. He didn't drink it. I made dinner. He didn't touch it. I tried to ask gently, "So, what exactly is next month?" He swallowed hard. "It's complicated, Mom." But love shouldn't be complicated. Hiding should be. Days passed. Daniel left every morning and returned late. Sometimes his phone was off. Sometimes Emily's phone was off too. I began worrying the way only mothers do, silently, painfully, without telling anyone. That week I barely slept. Not because of fear, because of instinct. The night he didn't come home, Friday evening passed. Then midnight. Then 2 a.m. I called him, switched off. I called Emily, also off. I sat in the quiet living room, staring at the front door, praying nothing bad had happened. I didn't know a different kind of bad was happening, the kind that doesn't show blood, just scars. Saturday morning, the door opened at 6:30 a.m. Daniel entered slowly, like he wasn't sure he was allowed to be there. "Daniel," I rushed toward him. "Are you okay?" He nodded. "Yes, Mom, I'm fine. All night." Yes, he said it like it was nothing, but it broke something inside me. The conversation later that day over tea, I asked softly, "So, about next month?" Daniel's spoon stopped mid-stir. He stared at the cup like he wished he could drown inside it. "Mom," he said quietly, "there's something I need to tell you." My heart started racing. "What is it?" "Not now," he whispered. Not now usually means never. The sentence at sunset. He sat beside me on the couch. We didn't speak for a few minutes. Finally I asked, "When is the wedding exactly?" Daniel looked at the floor, then at his phone screen, then finally into my eyes. "We got married yesterday." Just like that, yesterday, no invitation, no family, no mother, married. My world stopped. The pain I felt, something collapse inside my chest quietly, like a room inside my heart had burned down and only I could smell the smoke. "You married?" "Yes." "Without telling your mother?" Daniel looked ashamed. "I'm sorry, it just happened," I repeated. But nothing just happens when someone signs marriage papers. The aftermath. I didn't shout, I didn't cry, I just whispered, "So I wasn't needed." Daniel shook his head quickly. "No, Mom, you're misunderstanding." but the truth was already sitting between us like a wall neither of us could climb. He left the room silently, closed his bedroom door with a gentle click. And that sound hurt more than any scream. That night the house felt foreign, like suddenly I didn't belong in the story of my own life anymore. Later that night I walked past Daniel's door, the light was on. Inside, I heard him laugh on the phone, softly, lovingly, with her. And it hit me like a knife. He didn't just marry without me, he shared his happiness with someone else while I sat outside his world. I stood by that door for a moment longer, listening to the son I raised, loving someone enough to forget I existed. I walked back to my room and closed my light. But the darkness didn't start there, it started when he said the words, "We got married yesterday." I didn't sleep that night. Not even for a minute. I kept replaying Daniel's voice inside my mind like a sentence that refused to stop echoing, "We got married yesterday." There was a strange kind of silence in the house the next morning. The kind that comes after earthquakes. When everything is still standing, but nothing is the same anymore. Around 10:00 a.m., Daniel came downstairs quietly. He poured himself coffee like we were two polite strangers living under the same roof. "Good morning," he said. I couldn't say it back. My voice wasn't ready to forgive him for something he didn't even ask forgiveness for. He stood there for a moment, as if waiting for me to scold him, or collapse, or say something dramatic. But I just kept washing the dishes, pretending I didn't see the stranger my son had become. After a painful silence, he finally said, "Mom, Emily and I are going to her parents' house for the weekend." Already leaving again. Already choosing another home over his own. I nodded slowly without turning around. "Of course, you should be with your wife." He didn't know how to answer that. Then he walked out the door, and the sound of the latch closing felt like a goodbye I never agreed to. 2 days passed, no phone call. No message. Not even a text saying he arrived safely. Every hour I looked at my phone, hoping his name would appear, not with explanations, not with apologies, just something that meant I still mattered enough to be updated. But my screen stayed silent. And in that silence, I started to realize something painful. I wasn't waiting for Daniel's message anymore. I was waiting for proof I still had a son. Monday evening, Daniel finally came home. He entered with a soft voice. "Mom, are you awake?" I sat in the living room pretending to watch the news. He sat beside me like a child trying to approach a sleeping animal, carefully, slowly, afraid. "Mom, I know this is difficult." I didn't look at him. "Daniel, difficult is when someone forgets your birthday." I paused. "This is something else entirely." He spoke gently. "I wanted to tell you earlier, but things happened fast, and I finally turned to him. You didn't trust me." That sentence broke him a little. I could see it. His shoulders dropped. "It's not that. Emily, she has anxiety about big family events. She didn't want pressure. We just wanted something simple." "Simple," I repeated slowly. "Daniel, a marriage is many things, but it's not simple, not for parents." He looked down. "I didn't want to hurt you." I whispered, "You didn't think at all." The conversation I'll never forget. Daniel took a deep breath. "We're planning a small celebration next month. I want you to meet Emily properly." "Meet her properly?" "You married her, Daniel. I know her now more than you do, because I know the version of her you chose over your family." Daniel blinked hard, like the sentence physically struck him. "Mom, I didn't choose her against you." I shook my head slowly. "You just didn't choose us at all." He was quiet, completely quiet. Then he stood up, walked toward his room, and just before entering, he said something I wasn't ready to hear. "Mom, I hope someday you forgive us." Us. My son wasn't just one person anymore. He was a pair, a unit, a family that didn't include me. The first meeting 2 weeks later, Daniel insisted that Emily and he visit officially. I tried to prepare myself, but how does a mother prepare for the girl who took her son's last name without asking her blessing? The doorbell rang. Daniel entered first, smiling nervously, holding flowers like a peace offering. Behind him stood Emily, soft voice, shy posture, hands folded nervously as if she was unsure she belonged there. "Hi, Mrs. Miller," she said quietly. I managed a polite smile. "Hello, Emily." Daniel watched us carefully, afraid of the space between us. We sat at the dinner table, the three of us trying to pretend we were strangers meeting for the first time, when actually we should have been crying happy tears at a wedding I never attended. Emily spoke first. "I know everything happened faster than it should have. I hope one day you'll understand." I stared at her for a moment. She looked scared, not arrogant, not proud, scared. Quietly I asked, "Emily, was this your decision or both of yours?" She swallowed hard. "Mostly mine," she admitted. Daniel closed his eyes briefly, like he wished she hadn't said that. I felt something inside soften, not forgive, not accept, just soften. I spoke slowly. "Emily, being someone's wife is not about papers or ceremonies. It's about understanding what family means. I hope you understand that someday." She nodded with tears gathering in her eyes. "I'm trying." And for the first time, she wasn't just a girl who took my son. She was someone trying not to lose him while trying not to lose herself. After dinner when they left, Daniel hugged me. A real hug, warm, long, almost desperate. "I missed you, Mom," he whispered. I wanted to say I missed him too, but my voice chose silence. He kissed the top of my head, then left with Emily hand in hand. As I closed the door, I finally allowed myself to whisper to the empty hallway, "I missed you more than you'll ever know." The next week, Daniel stayed more connected. He called at night. He sent pictures. He asked how I was doing. Slowly, not perfectly, but slowly, he was returning. Not entirely, not fully, but enough to remind me I still existed in his world somewhere. But life wasn't done surprising me, because just when I thought things might heal, something happened that changed everything again. Something none of us were prepared for. Emily called me one evening, voice trembling. "Mrs. Miller, can you come to the hospital? Please, it's Daniel." And in that moment, my heart stopped breathing again. Not because of the marriage. Not because of the secrets. Not because of anything that happened before. But because the one sentence I feared more than all the others had arrived. And it was only the beginning. That drive to the hospital felt like the longest road of my life. My hands wouldn't stop shaking on the steering wheel. At every red light, I kept whispering Daniel's name under my breath, as if saying it could protect him somehow. Emily had sounded terrified on the phone, and she wasn't the type to exaggerate. When someone who avoids big emotions suddenly sounds hysterical, you know something very real is happening. I rushed through the sliding glass doors, and there she was, sitting on a plastic chair with her hands folded tightly in her lap, red eyes, trembling fingers. "Emily," I said, nearly out of breath. "Where is he?" She jumped up and hugged me, the kind of hug people give when they need someone to hold them up because their own legs can't. "He collapsed," she whispered. "At work. They think it was stress or maybe something with his heart, we don't know yet." Her voice broke. I felt my knees weaken, but I forced myself to stay upright. My son needed me, not my fear. The first glimpse when they finally allowed us in, Daniel was lying there, pale, exhausted, hooked to machines I didn't understand. I moved closer. My heart folded itself painfully inside my chest. "Daniel," his eyes opened slowly, and when he saw me, something shifted in them, relief, guilt, love, everything at once. "Mom," he whispered, just one word, but it was enough. I placed my hand over his, trying not to let him see the terror in my eyes. "What happened?" He smiled faintly, too much thinking, I guess. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Emily stood on the other side of the bed, looking like a broken shadow. The doctor arrived. "We're running tests. His heart rhythm was unstable, could be stress-related, could be something else. We'll know more soon." Stress. My son was drowning in stress while I was drowning in hurt, and suddenly none of that hurt mattered anymore. Hours passed. We sat there, Emily and I, on opposite sides of the room, united by the same fear. She whispered suddenly, "I'm sorry." I looked at her. "For what?" "For everything," she said quietly. "I took your son away from you." Her voice cracked like glass. I shook my head gently. "No, Emily. Life took him forward. That's what children do. You didn't steal him, you're part of him now." She pressed her lips together to stop herself from crying. "I'm still sorry." and for the first time I believed she truly meant it. Late night Daniel woke up again around midnight. He turned to me first. Not Emily, me. Mom, yes, sweetheart. Were you scared? I leaned closer. There's no fear bigger than imagining a world without your child in it. Eyes filled with emotion. I don't want you to hate me. My heart broke all over again. Daniel, I never hated you, I just missed being part of your life. His lower lip trembled. I messed everything up. No, I said softly, you were just trying to build a life. The only mistake was forgetting that I wanted to watch you build it. A tear slid down his cheek. Mom, I squeezed his hand, I'm not going anywhere. 2 days later Daniel improved. Machines slowly disappeared from his bedside. Doctors said nothing critical, just stress, exhaustion, anxiety, and maybe pushing life too fast. When they discharged him, Emily turned to me. He needs rest, and he listens to you more than anyone. I smiled softly, then stay with us. She blinked, surprised. Are you sure? Yes, I said. A home grows when hearts grow, and I think ours needs space to grow again. And that night, Daniel and Emily came home not as secrets, not as strangers, just family. Healing days turned into weeks. Every morning, I made breakfast while Emily helped Daniel rest. Some days I found them laughing in the kitchen. Some days they argued softly like all married people do. But no matter what, they were closer, we were closer. Daniel apologized one afternoon. I should have trusted you with everything. I smiled gently. You're my son, Daniel. I forgive you before you even ask. He held my hand. I love you, Mom. And that simple sentence healed things years of silence had cracked. One evening, Emily sat beside me on the couch. Mrs. Miller. Yes, Emily. My mom wants to have the ceremony next month, a proper wedding this time, and Daniel said he wants you to walk with him. My throat tightened. She nodded shyly. Yes, we thought it would be beautiful if you're willing. I looked at her. The girl I once believed stole my son. The girl who actually helped me get him back. I smiled through watery eyes. It would be my honor. The ceremony a month later, under soft lights and white flowers, Daniel stood waiting. Emily walked down the aisle looking like hope itself. Before the vows, Daniel turned, offered me his arm, and whispered, You walked me to life. The least I can do is walk with you to my future. And in front of everyone, he hugged me tight, genuine, unashamed. I love you, Mom, he said again. And this time, the whole world heard it. After the wedding, when the music softened and people were busy with photographs, Daniel leaned closer. Thank you for not giving up on us. I smiled. I never will. Parents don't give up. We just wait until our children remember where home is. He pressed his forehead against mine, and I do remember. Every single day. Final message: sometimes children don't mean to leave us behind. They simply walk faster, trying to find their own place in the world. And accidentally forget who taught them how to walk in the first place. But love, real love, always finds its way back home. And when it does, it comes with more hearts than it left with.